Hi guys. All right. Well, this PowerPoint is going to basically talk about project-based learning based off chapters 3, 4, and 5 that we read from the textbook. So let's go ahead and get started on breaking down these chapters. So first off, we're going to start with chapter 3. Chapter 3 of this book basically discusses how to get a child to see the whole point of projects and like how to build off of that. When it comes to creating a project, you want to make sure that it has real world aspects. So to do that, you want to find the heart of a project to help the student make connections. So ideally, you want to help them find the heart of the project. So what's the project really about, and like what are we trying to learn? And then you're going to make sure that you create projects that lead to students having a better understanding of a bigger idea or concept that you are currently teaching within your classroom. And then following that, you want to ask them, how does this help outside of the classroom? And this basically just allows them to break down what's going on in this project, what they're supposed to be learning, and how it connects to not only what they're learning through lessons in the classroom, but how they can apply this outside of the classroom when they're at home, when they go to a different grade, when they get a job, depending on what age you're working with. This just allows them to get a better understanding. Also, allowing them to find the meaning of it allows them to see, like, okay, I'm not just doing this project because my teacher made me. So I totally agree with creating a project that allows students to connect, because I personally never enjoyed projects where I felt I didn't understand how this was applying. I felt my teachers just assigned them because they wanted to assign them, and I never saw the connection. So making sure that your students find the connections is very important in their success. You also want to look at learning dispositions, which are also known as habits of the mind, based off the book. So when we're talking about habits of the mind, we're actually talking about learning dispositions. As said in the book on page 71, learners acquire learning dispositions less through direct teaching and more through experiences and encouragement. So basically this is saying that there's like two types of mindsets that kids are born with. And based off the book, it said that the two mindsets are fixed mindset and growth mindset. Children that have a fixed mindset believe that they were just born with intelligence. So they're smart and there's no helping them to get any smarter. Students with the growth mindset, they feel that like effort plays a role. So if they try and they go to tutoring, then it all is helping to create a better learning environment, which also ultimately leads to them becoming a little bit smarter and just building off of that. So they believe that being smart is something that you aren't born with and you can acquire it over time and through efforts. So when you're looking at learning dispositions and you're teaching in your classroom, you have to know who's who. And you have to remember that even if students are with the growth mindset or with the fixed mindset, you should approach them both the same. Because at the end of the day, students with fixed mindset often they struggle with failure. They don't understand if they don't do well. They think that, oh my goodness, like I'm not smart. And that may not be the case. They may just need to look at a concept again, look at it in a different way, and then it'll click to them and they'll understand it. So when approaching both of these type of students, I totally recommend in not saying words like trigger words like you're smart now because you got an A. Instead of, wow, you did a great job, you put a lot of effort into that and it paid off. Or even if they don't do too well, it's okay. You still put effort into that and we'll fix it and we'll go from there and we'll make sure that you understand a concept. So praising their efforts over saying that it's because they're smart makes a difference in not only the fixed mindset, but obviously as well as the growth mindset, which is very, very important. When you're looking at passion projects, that's basically what we're talking about is students and how they can connect and how they get extremely interested in it and they're eager to learn and they're eager to build on their project and they want to work on it 24/7. You have to keep your students in mind and what they enjoy. So based off page 73 in the book, we said projects with passion help connect with the social and emotional aspects of learning experience. So basically what we want to do to create passion projects is find what the children are interested in, find in what your students like and build off that. If you're doing a math project and it has to do with geometry, so shapes. You can go ahead and see that like maybe one student, he enjoys like architecture. So you can go ahead and build off that and say, okay, build me a playground out of like these shapes, and now I need you to figure out how much paint we're going to need to fill it all. So there's ways to like build, and now they're connecting with it because it's something that they enjoy. They enjoy talking about architecture or whatever it is, and you're building off that to make a connection. So now they have passion for the project because that you tapped into what they do and what they enjoy outside of school. So that's extremely important. So chapter 3, that's basically what we're going over, is finding the heart of a project and applying that so students get an understanding of what they're doing, and then learning dispositions and their way to talk to both students as well as passion projects and how to get kids interested in wanting to learn. In chapter 4, we're talking about a little bit different, there's a little bit different things going on. Chapter 4, we're talking about technology, we're talking about creating single questions as well as preventing the downfalls. So if we're going to go ahead and start with preventing downfalls, you want to look at what you can do to make the student learn to the best of their ability. So when you're doing that type of thing, you want to make sure that you're creating a space where students get to build off their own creativity and not just follow a set of rules. So when you're creating a project for a student and you want them to learn and problem solve and be creative and do all this, your best bet is to just have a simple guideline. Do not like overly script your project with different steps, because then at the end they're just following what you said and all your projects are going to come out the same, and that's not what you want. You want to build creativity at a young age. You want to make sure that they see originality within their work and they can identify the difference between their project and their partner's project, as well as see the similarities between the two projects because it is based off the same criteria. So just give simple guidelines, and it allows you to let the students think and to create their own decisions and make originality a prime factor in these projects, which is great because you want to always support originality, and you can see how students, what they find interesting within your project, and you can build off that for future generations and future years in your classroom. After doing that, creating simple guidelines, you want to make sure that it all ties in with a single question. A single question is very important. You just want to ask, like say you're looking at a student and you want to talk about the sun, but now you want to build off of that so students can see connection throughout their project and what they can use to build off that within their originality as well. So you want to build off a question. So it's the sun. Okay, well, I enjoy the sun. So what does the sun do? The sun, it heats me up in the summer. Okay, so you're going to build off that. So now the sun's in the summer. Now you can relate that to the water. How does the water heat? What's the average water temperature when you're at the beach? And then you can go from that and you can build off that question. How does the water temperature in the summer compared to the winter affect the animals in the ocean? And you can build off of that. And how does that affect their food? And then you can just go through so many questions that just keep building and building. And it allows students to get a different idea of how that main question affects so many aspects of the real world and how they can build off that. And it also keeps them interested, and they get a chance to just see other aspects of a project and a question and how little things affect more than just one aspect of their life. You have to remember when you're doing this, technology is everywhere. It's at the students' hands. So allow them to use that. Allow them to go to a computer lab and to do research so they can answer these questions that lead to other questions. Because at the end of the day, they don't know the answer to all these questions, and neither do you as a teacher. So I totally agree that you should go ahead and build off technology. I think that if students have cell phones, you can ask them to pull it out for, say, okay, you guys get 10 minutes on your cell phones. Now look up as much as you can about this topic. And obviously, you're going to have some students that are replying to text messages or they're doing that. But ultimately, you get a chance to allow them to use it anyways, because students are itching to use their phones all through class. So if you're allowing them 10 minutes to get their research done, some students will reply, but at the end of the day, they're still going to go back to doing their research, so they have an answer. And when you call on them, they will have answers, which is very important. So you got to like work on that and work with the technology that is around you, as well as making technology into your lesson plans. And when you're creating questions for your students, allow them to use their phones to answer a poll that you created. There's so many little things that you can do that involve technology and allows your students to feel connected to what's around them and how they learn as individuals in this generation. Chapter 5, the last chapter of this, we're going to go over how to plan for formative assessment as well as creating project timelines and summative assessments, which are very important. All three of these things are vital when you assign a project, and they're extremely important. And you'll see that as you break all this down. So for a formative assessment, based off the book, it says formative assessment enables you to guide their efforts towards the learning goals you establish, making necessary adjustments to help them achieve quality results. So this allows you, for the teacher, to step in and see where students are doing and see how their needs are going. And it's a great tool if you want to be an active teacher and you want to help your students succeed, like all teachers do. You don't want to see them fail, so this allows you to play an active role in making sure that they do succeed and helping them along the way when they are struggling. Ways to do this assessment is to check in with students. So you could do exit slips. Say you have an in-class project and they're working on it all week. You can do it twice a week or once a week, whatever you feel. You can do it on Wednesday, like midweek. Just have an exit slip. Say, okay, all of you guys should be at this point in your project, write on the exit slip where you're at and what you need to do to get to the next step. And that allows the teacher to go ahead and look back and be like, okay, a lot of them are here, a lot of them need to be here, or a lot of them are here and they're ready to move on to this. And it allows you just to get an idea of who's ahead, who's behind. If you need to stop and you need to reiterate something and you need to go over it, it just allows for you to look back at your time and fix it, basically. Also, you can do coffee talks, which are great for students who may just need the help of their peers. They want to ask questions. They don't feel comfortable going up to the teacher. So this allows them to just have informal questions with each other. Ask the partner right next to them, hey, do you know how to do this? I forgot how the reference page is supposed to go. It doesn't need to be in ABC order. And this allows them just to work with each other and also remind each other, like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that, or I need to change this on my project and I need to change that. Next, which is very important, is project timelines, which you need to create milestones within a project so students can chunk these into one big thing. Some students have a hard time managing a giant project and splitting it up into different times. So as a teacher, it is your job to help them with that. You can go ahead and chunk and be like, okay, if you're writing a long essay or a research paper, it's I want your topic sentence one week. The next week, I want to see your introduction and your first paragraph. The next week, I want to see all your evidence that you're going to put into that. And you can build off that and you can help them create a timeline so that they do not wait till the end of the day, at the end when it's due, and they create a quality essay and a quality work. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that they're succeeding and they're putting in the time. And this allows them to, as well as like you can get an idea of what's going on and what they're struggling with and what they're not struggling with. The last, we're going to talk a summative assessment, which based off the book in page 97, summative assessment allows teachers to make grades against a rubric, present a performance task, give a test, or ask other teachers or subject matters experts to help them evaluate students' work. This is basically after you've done your group talk, your check-ins, your timelines. This is at the end when you need to see what they've done. You need to make sure that you created a rubric so you do have something to grade against. You can see which students are doing well, what they didn't do well in, what they fixed and what they didn't fix. Because during your check-ins, you may have graded something. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that they fixed it. And this allows you to do that. You want to see your objectives, and then you wanted to create evidence, and you wanted to make sure these evidence leads to these activities, and these activities lead to an ultimate overall concept that was learned. So this allows you to create a rubric and to give them a grade on what they've done and what they've improved on and what they haven't. Overall, assessment is extremely important, not only for the teacher, but as well for the student, so they can see what they need to work on and what they can better in themselves. This is our go ahead and reference page. This is the sites that we use for the pictures as well as the book we use for the information. I hope you guys got a better understanding and you got to see what I agreed with, when I came to this book, and I hope you enjoyed.